welcome to Virtual Concert Hall's live music channel. My name is Chris Au, and I'll be your host along with the amazing Dr. Anna Ouspenskaya today.
Thank you, Chris, and thank you everyone who is joining our programs as we are moving on to the next chapter of Beethoven Symphony number 4. Our last program, we explored the incredible opening, which was dealing with vast universes and separated notes, and it was just a very interesting opening of it. We ended up with a big bang, opening the doors to the Allegro, and I can't wait to see what's going on there and to co-host this program with you, Chris.
Yes, so this is part 2 of the documentary of Beethoven Symphony number 4, written and narrated by Lawrence Rapchak, created by New Media Productions worldwide and virtual concert halls, and produced by Architects of Music.
Thank you, Architects of Music. Thank you, the team of Virtual Concert Halls, Lawrence Rapchak, and everyone involved in this incredible project and connected by our unwavering passion for bringing music and musicians and music events to our audiences from around the entire globe.
That grand, joyous harmonic cadence. And that stunning event, that dynamic burst of energy on a huge, dominant seventh chord that almost blinds us with its brilliance. And suddenly the tempo quadruples in speed with those dashing upward scales. Which will become very important later on. And Beethoven's ecstatic, life-affirming dance bursts forth. And we all know the Fifth Symphony's reputation as a great darkness to light work. But what about this? And the exposition's main theme, as you heard, is composed of those very same formerly inanimate particles from the introduction. Very equidistant. Yes, now they're supercharged with energy. And the theme includes those lovely descending triads in the woodwinds, which will also evolve later. Everything develops in Beethoven. Everything grows and evolves. Now, am I making too much of this? Or have these shapeless elements drifting in the void been harnessed and infused, animated, ignited with the rhythm of life? It's interesting to learn that right around this time, Beethoven was involved in a rather petty dispute with a rude theater manager. And he wrote to a colleague, quote, "I will not grovel. My world is the universe." So, okay, I get it. He was upset and probably exaggerating. But it's interesting that he used that imagery. So let's quickly take a look at this amazing exposition of the first movement. There's a new linking passage, flowing and animated very softly, with the bassoon playing the main theme fragments, like so. And Beethoven here uses those diminished chords, which we'll look at a bit later. These, and this one, and then this one. Not only for intensity, but also to connect us back to the mystery of the introduction. There, diminished chord. And the main theme now returns in the full orchestra. Then we move into the dominant key of F major, as in all good sonata movements, but it's not at all formulaic. Beethoven is always searching and innovating, and he uses the quick, repeated rhythm of his main theme for a transition, like so. But he then destabilizes the rhythm, shifting on to the offbeats. If we had on the beats, it would be bum, 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 bum. But it isn't. It's bum, 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 which adds to the turbulence now with these chords. And this leads to our lively bucolic secondary theme in F major. It starts in the bassoon, echoed by the oboe, and then the flute in D minor. And you know this evokes a very rustic sound, the shepherd's piping. Yes, over sustained string chords. But wait a minute. This jolly woodwind tune. Now slow it down just a bit. Slow it down more. More. It sounds vaguely like... No, it can't be. No. Please, tell me. It can't be. But it is. That somber, inanimate thing, the first primal material that we heard in the slow introduction. So this has been accelerated several dozen times, and now infused with life, it has evolved into this. But it happens so fast. Can we hear that again? And isn't this the same thing that Haydn did in number 102? The lovely arch of sound from his introduction? Transformed into... Or in Haydn's Symphony number 98, also in the key of B flat major. And this similarity, I think, is important. Like Beethoven's fourth, Symphony 98 of Haydn, starts in B flat minor with this ominous theme in its slow introduction. And this same ominous theme later in the Allegro, in the major key, is bouncing around like a gigantic calliope. Yes, Haydn and Beethoven, kindred spirits. So Beethoven's jolly reconstituted second theme is now extended into a transition, and it continually is built on the steady, repeated rhythm of the main theme. But now twice as slow, played by the strings only in bare octaves. But again, it's like a primal force of nature that gains in power, and it culminates in a robust new theme. And there's our actual closing theme, all in the dominant key of F major. So we have this new theme, followed by the closer, which is a round between the clarinet and bassoon. It's then taken up by the full orchestra, but it includes these delicate little violin interjections that shimmer like so. Twice cut short by the full orchestra. And these delicate little sounds in the violins now expand into this massive crescendo, ending in that vigorous offbeat rhythm, bam, 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 like so.
Absolutely love the symphony. It's such a banger of a first movement. You just have hit after hit, like a fantastic new theme after each, one after the other. It's just fantastic. And I mean, to hear Larry describe it is fantastic, but I just want to relish in this amazing joy of the music.
And that's the beauty, and that's how I feel so blessed working on this project with Architects of Music and Lawrence Rapchak and everyone involved, because Larry's narration is what, to me, really represents Beethoven's music in the best way. It's I'm not afraid to say it's a narration matching in its intricacy and masterfulness to the Beethoven symphonies themselves.
Yes, yes, we don't know who the real master is, Beethoven or Larry Rapchak, because they both seem to have such a great mastery.
Both are real.
What they do, which is, I mean, I'm not saying Larry Rapchak wouldn't compose well either, but I mean, obviously Beethoven is the composer and Larry is the narrator, which makes his composition so appealing. Yeah.
And what actually potentially gave Larry such an insight into being able to uncover and explore so deeply into the construction and the architecture of Beethoven's music is being himself a multifaceted musician. He is a pianist, he is a conductor with vast experience conducting symphony orchestras, and he's also a composer. So what we hear from him is the musicianship, the level of musicianship, and the ability to bring in all those other examples from other compositions. It's of course based on his absolutely encyclopedical knowledge of the music, but not only. He approaches every piece of music as what you can discover, what's hidden behind, how it's made of. It's almost like you see this background with the universe and particles in there. It's not only just natural curiosity how it's made, but it's curiosity which is armed with vast study and ability to really understand and discern what those particles are. It takes a physicist. Here it takes a composer and a conductor and a pianist to discern what Beethoven put into those incredible masterpieces.
Yeah, well, that's very true, and it's very good for us to praise Larry because every week we do that. But let's talk about what we learned from Larry, because it's really important. I mean, we give a lot of praise to everyone involved in the project, and it's rightly deserved. But let's talk about what we learned, because this is for you, our audience, and we learned a lot. We learned how basically this is our amazing director showed a really amazing quote by Larry himself, which is everything grows and evolves in Beethoven. And I want to start off there, which is that he takes very simple motivic elements, right? We even have things that he worked with Haydn. When he worked with Haydn, he understood that you can take things from the introduction and put it into the exposition of a piece. You can take skeletons, little fragments, and these can come later. Every single episode we have of Larry talking about Beethoven seems to always have this little thing that there's little seeds of themes, little seeds of tiny little motives that are grown and developed into something much bigger. And I think this is a huge thing for us to learn and for us to really take home with, which is that every little thing, even if we're an interpreter of music and player, performer of music, every little thing matters because it's part of an organic whole.
Absolutely. And Beethoven is rightfully considered one of the absolutely phenomenal genius masters of development. Development and seeing things grow. Yes, and Larry summarized it. Everything grows and evolves in Beethoven. And that's how Beethoven approaches his creation and potentially even his personal life. Like in the previous episode we saw, I mean, he had a big blow when his Fidelio opera, his first and only opera, became, business on the business level became a complete failure. And what does he do? He turns his attention to something different and churns out a bunch of instrumental masterpieces and this symphony as well.
And speaking of sort of, there's another quote that Larry mentions, and I love these sort of things that we learn from his diary entries or his letters, because it really shows Beethoven as a person who then relevantly it translates into his music. We can learn a lot about a person's character from his music, but we can also learn a lot about their character from their letters. And one is when he was involved in a dispute with a very rude theater manager. He said, "I will not grovel. My rule is the universe." And I love that. And Larry emphasizes this quote, "My rule is the universe." And I think that's very powerful.
That's extremely powerful, and I like how Larry mentions that. Well, possibly he was just very angry, and so made it a little bit grandiose. But I'm sure Beethoven meant it because that's what his music is like. It's on grandiose scale. It's epic, and it's dealing with large emotions, large events, large stories, and really long, continuous, and varied development of every element there.
Yes.
He really did grasp the on musical and emotional level too, that our feeling of what the universe is. It's vast, it's complex, it has little elements which are floating in lots of different contexts, and they connect and develop into forms which very far remote from what we started with, and that's what Beethoven does, and that's what Larry discovers in like that little element in the beginning of the symphony. It takes really a lot of understanding to make a connection between that and what it sounds and looks like and what it feels like in the allegro section of the first movement.
And what's interesting is how often do you hear artists or people these days talk about "my rule is the universe"? It's almost as if the more we understand about the scientific world and the universe itself, the less we seem to respect it and to adhere to what we call its rule. And
what is that rule? Beethoven kind of indirectly claims to know it.
He claims, yeah, he claims to understand it and to follow it somehow. And I wonder if it has something to do with the will. Like, we don't talk about this very much either these days. What is the will? Like, the strength of the will. And one often, if you're religious, talks about the will of God. But also, what is the will of the universe? That things continue to move forward, that the time doesn't stop just because things don't go your way or that you fail. You continue to suffer through it. And I think we learn a lot from understanding Beethoven's music because it inspires us to know how to be great and to really follow something really revolutionary. And it's fantastic. I really, really love this.
Yes, it's very invigorating and inspiring to hear from someone like Beethoven. Yeah, go ahead and just follow the rule of the universe to the best of your understanding of it, and as opposed to engaging into some squabbles with another person. That's not the rule of the universe.
Not that he didn't, but yeah.
Yeah, it goes back to what people discovered in his diaries and in his Tagebuch, very famous Tagebuch of Beethoven. Many references to intelligent and kindness of the higher power. So that was his understanding of the universe. The universe is not out there to just bang us with, cataclysmic weather events. It has its ruling and it has its kindness. This assignment of the moral aspect or ethical aspect to the universe is something you might not really immediately expect from Beethoven, but it's there in his diaries.
Yeah, and I think as we explore more of Beethoven's music, the reason why he's such a fascinating creator and a composer is we discover many different sides, many different facets. And what's very cool is I noticed, because we just finished the Sixth Symphony, that the secondary theme is this bucolic F major theme. And he uses this bucolic word again, quite often in the Sixth Symphony. And so already there's this idea of the shepherd song, a rustic sound. And of course, it's written to reflect, in a way, the motivic kind of the motives from the introduction. But again, we have this idea that, yes, there's a huge burst of energy within the cosmos. But let's not forget the little shepherd out there and with the sheep and the pastoral sense of nature and the ease at which joy is easily attained. It's not so difficult in the bigness of our universe to attain and delight in the small things that will give us more and more joyful themes. I think since this secondary theme came, we just get bigger, more and more different new themes that are just so joyful, that's so full of life. And
So overwhelmingly optimistic. It does sound very optimistic, doesn't it? The
yeah.
symphony itself, and this is how Beethoven created that image, that feeling of the unwithering optimism, and the tonality of it, and the construction of the theme, and making it sound like a seemingly simplistic,
Yeah.
but not so much simplistic as connected with organic relationship with the nature and even the universe. The shepherds know how to be happy among nature.
Yeah, yeah, I think it's so amazing that we have art like this to reflect upon, because the art of our modern age seems to focus a lot on the modern or on the human experience, on the human emotion, the human experience, the human struggle, the human prejudices and parts of our history which are not quite so beautiful, usually relatively ugly, or there's violence. And I think it's a good reminder to come back to what humanity and the world is really about, that in spite of the difficulties that Beethoven himself suffered through, and obviously the prejudices, the difficulties, I mean, as we know from the first episode, Napoleon had fully captured Vienna at this point, so he had little to no freedom in terms of political freedom, and he knew his country was conquered in a way, his city was conquered, and he suffered through a lot of different blasts of war, and it's not easy to be living amongst this sort of civil disturbance. Yet, look at this music, right? And it's that the universe and the world is a dance. It's a joyful dance, and that's really inspiring, I think.
Let's take that wonderful energy and carry it on with us today, and
Yes.
hopefully still tomorrow, and until the next episode.
Yes, exactly. And it's thanks to our team and thanks to you that we have this to reflect upon. Of course, a big thanks to Larry Rapchak for making this incredible way of linking history with musicality and with the great music of Beethoven, but also of Haydn and other composers within the area, within the time, that have influenced this to be there.
Yes, thank you everyone involved, and I would like to also invite our audience members and anyone who is watching and maybe coming back to these episodes to get connected with us. We are going to preserve that energy from this movement, and we're going to apply it to our own projects, to our own work, because it's a good message from Beethoven. Follow the rule of the universe, and the rule of the universe is kind and intelligent.
Absolutely, yeah.
So, and please visit our websites and websites of many of our partners. Some of those websites carry one types of projects where we invite musicians to join our productions, performances in various concert halls and orchestras. It's just going to take too long for me to describe it. Just take a look at the websites. Virtual concert halls, progressive musicians.com, callorchestra.com, and sound-specific competition.com, and many of our wonderful collaborators and platforms out there who support our movement to bring more in-depth music and more music from around the world to everyone. Yeah.
And I think I want to take this time to give a big hand to you and the team for making sure that these shows are available for everybody. Free, by the way. Content is free. And
That's right.
And this is excellent content. And of course, our commentary, you can take it or leave it. But it's a wonderful time to be able to talk to you about this and to have a way to comment on what is just genuinely fantastic content. And information for music lovers, but as musicians as well. I think it's really important to understand and to watch these to see what the audience wants to hear. Basically, a lot of people go on stage and they are asked to introduce the music is, oh, Beethoven was born here, and this time he lived in this city, and this piece was written, and blah, blah, blah. But make the music come alive, and when your description is alive and interesting as Larry's, it makes the audience just fall in love with the music even more. And I think this is a big thing, this very important work. So thank
And
you,
being
Larry.
in love with music is a good love affair. It
Yeah.
does not betray, it does not harm, it just
No.
brings energy, joy, and fuels your own creative energy. So we hope our programs bring joy to you, and we'll be again back with the episode number 3 for Beethoven Symphony number 4 very, very soon. See you
Yes,
again.
join us for part 3, and then I'll see you soon. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.
No matter where you are or who you are, music connects us all. We started with a dream, but now we are paving the future. Welcome to the Sound Expressiva Global Competition. Fully virtual, yet bringing musicians closer together than ever before, now on a global scale. True live, inclusivity, diversity, connection, community, an extraordinary array of judges. Get noticed by companies all over the world. Prizes, scholarships, performance opportunities. Apply to be a part of the most exciting congregation of artists like nothing you've ever seen before. We guarantee quality and leave no musician behind. We can't wait to hear you on the virtual stage.